know it could get really scary really quick, but I think it's going to be very loud. We're going to have some big wind gusts, and then I think things are going to get better. I think you're going to notice some brighter skies even. I know folks out in Sandusky are already seeing brighter skies to the west, down toward Polk and Sullivan and Mansfield and Ontario and Shelby too. You're seeing those brighter skies, but note that the winds will still stay pretty gusty as we head through the evening, and then by tomorrow morning we're dealing with partly cloudy skies, and it looks like temperatures will be considerably cooler. Remember, the damaging wind is our biggest enemy tonight as far as the weather goes, because we are talking about those wind gusts that are going to be coming in 50, 60, 70 plus miles per hour. And these aren't just a quick whoosh burst of wind. These are sustained for 5 to 8 minutes. There's been reports of that that have been going on. And it does look like as we go through the rest of the evening, then our damaging wind threat comes down significantly. Once that line passes through, there's a little bit of hail to talk about and some tornado threat too. And that simply comes from when we start to see that shape, that bow shape, right on the northern flank of that bow shape. That's when a lot of times you're going to start to see some kind of spin. We've not seen that. That being said, you can get kind of thunderstorms that rub against each other kind of funky and things start to spin up. So we do have some wind damage as reported in Loudonville, several trees down now. They are starting to cancel the watch out toward the Toledo area. And then we also have the thunderstorm warnings that continue. I'm going to back up. So this is the beautiful thing about having these clickers, is that you could do just about anything that you want to do. Okay, reset time. Now you can see, here we go, Lorain, Erie, Huron County, and then Richland County, severe clear. Your severe thunderstorm watch is done. It's all canceled. We still have a few little pops that are ongoing out here. This is where the cold front is, the actual cold front. We had the storms that fired, and then they kind of race out ahead of the cold front, and then the actual cold front is back here. It's going to bring us much cooler, more mild air for tomorrow. Beautiful day setting up for tomorrow. And then again let's see, today's Wednesday, so that'd be Friday. And then even into the weekend too. So let's get caught up again. We're going to back it in. So you know how, if you've done this dance with me, it's kind of a coordinated attack here. We kind of work our way around Northeast Ohio as needed. But we're going to pop back in. Look at this wind. Oh my word, this is just crazy wind that we're seeing. And again, the radar is picking up this wind offshore, but notice, I mean, we're awful close. And if there's any kind of variability, computers are great, but they're not perfect. Look, now it's coming onshore. We've got this potential, that's Euclid, 84 mile per hour wind showing up on the radar right now. This will cause damage. We have a lot of power outages. As a matter of fact, let me get an update for you on the number of power outages in the state of Ohio. Now, First Energy puts out power outages by state. Of course, we're in Ohio. And of the more than 2 million customers of First Energy in the state of Ohio, 52,459 are without power. And if I can scroll down real quick, we've got 2,448 without power in Ashland County, almost 6,500 in Cuyahoga County, more than 12,000 without power in Erie County. Scrolling down a little bit more, 3,500 in Lorain County, 14,500 in Ottawa County. That includes the islands, by the way. And then 3,700 in Richland County. Sandusky County, again, that's west of the city of Sandusky, has almost 3,800. So we have a lot of power outages. The crews are out, I promise, but they have to be safe as well. And they're probably just going to follow right along the backside of this line. So 84 mile per hour winds showing up on the radar. And you can see here we had a new severe thunderstorm warning added for Lake County and northern Geauga County. That's no surprise there. Look at the wind that's starting to pop in here down just to the south of areas around Euclid. So that'd be South Euclid, maybe getting into portions of Beechwood or Mayfield Heights at this point. Mayfield Heights. Let's get a little closer in. And you can see that where we're getting Cleveland Heights, oh boy, Shaker Heights, we got these big old trees out here, Cleveland Heights, and then you get into Euclid, South Euclid, Green Road area, and then we're going to move over toward East Lake, Willoughby Hills, as this continues in. This is particularly concerning right here that's moving into East Lake, so heads up. If you're in East Lake, this is the kind of wind, like it doesn't matter if it's spinning or if it's straight line wind. There's going to be some damage out of that, trees coming down and whatnot. So now's a good time to get everybody together in the family, get to the center of the house. Not necessarily tornado precautions, but if you want to get in the basement, I'm not going to judge. I don't think anybody's going to judge. You do you, and you take the precautions that you need to take, certainly. That is very concerning. And then we've also got this little surge here that's coming just east of downtown, just east of Bracknell, and that will continue to move up I-90 as well. If we put our little tracker on here, I mean, we're getting some pretty good wind gusts hitting here, and they are onshore. So this is on land, 60+ mile-per-hour wind gusts that are showing up on the radar. And again, we may be just above the surface here, but these thunderstorms are helping to transport that wind farther down in the atmosphere, and that's when it hits the ground, has nowhere to go, so it begins to spread out. And when it spreads out, that's when you can really have those big problems. All right, Summit County now got a severe thunderstorm warning, so we're going to reset. We'll go farther south. We'll take our maps south with us. And there you see Summit County is now colored in. We also have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Tuscarawas County, so we'll track that in just a minute. But let's get in here to portions of Summit County. We'll turn back on this reflectivity, which is basically just the typical way you're looking at where is the rain. It's reflecting, the energy from the radar is reflecting off of raindrops and all the stuff in the atmosphere. The more reflecting that's done, the brighter the colors. That's always indicative of a heavier amount of rain or precipitation, and certainly that is the case here. We can also track where that rain is. Remember, that's where we start to see the patterns, the bowing patterns, and that's always kind of a clue as to what's happening as far as the mechanics go within that thunderstorm. So there is the latest on the Summit County part of this storm. We still have a little bit of bowing that's coming through. No word yet out of Wadsworth that I know of. I'm trying to keep a little bit of an eye on my Twitter account, even though at this point I can't keep up because people are just wonderfully sending me all kinds of great information, and I do appreciate it. I'm getting it like it's refreshing 170 things every time I do it, so it gets a little crazy. I'm seeing Twitter reports winds getting wicked in Norton. That's down here in southwest portion of Summit County, and there's just all kinds of other things. Stephanie Haney, our digital anchor who lives in downtown Cleveland, said she legit thought she was going to blow away. We did have a pretty good burst of wind here downtown. So there we go. Here's Medina County. You can see right here, this line, that dark line, that is Medina Line Road. Named appropriately, right? So then you cross over into Summit County. So we are just south of Richfield. We're into Bath, Fairlawn, Montrose, Copley, Miles Stomping Grounds, Norton, down into Barberton. This is going to move over into West Akron, so Fairlawn Heights area, and then you get into downtown Akron. Now we're also going to go farther south into Kenmore, and then farther north into Cuyahoga Falls and up into portions of Twinsburg, Macedonia, those areas too. If we put on the winds, we're going to keep an eye on that. It's not as significant as the winds farther north. Remember, the lake, there's not a lot of friction when the wind is going across the lake, so it's got a chance to speed up. When it's going over land and especially terrain, it kind of bumps things around and the wind slows down a little bit. But that being said, we're also going along the axis of the radar here, so that kind of messes with things a little bit. What do I mean by axis of the radar? Okay. This is the Doppler wind velocity. Green means it's blowing toward the radar, red means it's blowing away. So when this radar beam swings around, at some point it's kind of facing directly into the wind. So it's along the axis of the radar, and it kind of cancels out that little bit of data. So it gets a little choppy there. But needless to say, this radar picture, this velocity picture is telling me we have the wind coming out of the south-southwest. It's moving toward the north-northeast. And then you can kind of interpolate from the colors the speed the wind is moving. You too can be a radar meteorologist. I'm not the best, believe me, not anywhere near it. But you know, you get the basics down pat for what you need, and that's kind of where I'm at, I think. Anywho, all that said, Wayne County, we still have some wind that's happening here, so we're probably still getting some pretty good wind gusts, 40, 50 mile per hour wind gusts that translate at the surface. Now we are starting to get elevated, so we're getting higher up into the thunderstorm. We're kind of poking in. So is this showing us just kind of a cross section of a high wind core that's elevated, or is it actually going to start to come down? That's the big question. Better to be safe than sorry. Issue the warning. We know we have high winds. We've already had damage reported in a good part of northeast Ohio from these thunderstorms, and so it's just at this point kind of auto rolling. They're just going to put out the warnings as the storms continue to move to the east. I'm going to get a quick update here, see if there's anything special. I'm not seeing anything crazy that's coming out. That's always good news. So let's back it out again, and we'll go a little bit farther south into Holmes County. Now, notice we've got brighter colors in Holmes County. Again, we're slicing higher into the storm now. Not as much friction up there, and there's a belt of wind that's pretty high speed that's above the surface, but at any point those thunderstorms can just translate all of that energy down, all of that wind down farther to the surface, and you get momentum. So gravity is going to help to speed things up. Isn't this fun? You get to, like, your brain just starts to go crazy with all these little details and trying to decipher all this. But if we kind of peek at some of these wind speeds that are associated with this, and this is what's coming into Millersburg proper, we're still talking solid 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts potentially. And again, this isn't just a quick whoosh gust and it's over with. We're talking 5 to 8 mile per hour sustained time of 50, 60, 70 mile per hour winds. So that is a huge issue. I want to go back up to the north because that is where our highest concern is as of right now with that wind belt. And again, look at this. That is just incredible how this thing is kicking it, moving right up along the lakeshore. So we are just offshore now, just offshore of East Lake with this very high wind core. This is your 80 plus mile per hour winds that we were tracking earlier. That's going to continue to move to the northeast, but right along the lakeshore, there's the lakeshore right there. That is where we could have some issues as far as some of these wind gusts actually making it onshore and causing some damage too. Ashland County, Perrysville, we've got trees down. One tree is down on a house. We talked about Holmes and Wayne County. Let me just get caught up real quick. There are special marine warnings that are out for Lake Erie waters. Thank goodness. That could be pretty interesting if you were on a boat, wouldn't it? Just kind of peeking at a couple different things. So yeah, if you want to see this setup, you can scroll back like 190,000 tweets, and I have a picture of what this contraption looks like. I got an iPad and my phone and a computer, and we got all kinds of technology happening, but that's how we roll. So, all right, let's back it out. Let's take a look at this. We've got the reflectivity back. There we go. So the lightning, again, we're still dealing with a lot of lightning here. Lightning is kind of the pulse of a thunderstorm, if you will. It tells us kind of the health of the thunderstorm. If we start to see a lot of upgrowth in the lightning or a lot of sustained lightning, we know that thunderstorm is doing just fine. If we start to see the lightning dying back a little bit, fading away, we know the thunderstorm is beginning to cool it and start to collapse a little bit. So we are aware, this is a just FYI in the 3 News feed. We're aware that the Facebook feed is being weird. Fantastic. We can't fix that. Remember, we also are streaming on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. We're streaming live on YouTube and WKYC.com and the app. So we have all platforms that we are streaming live right now. So if you're having trouble, if it's a little glitchy on Facebook, you can hop off and head over to YouTube or over to the WKYC.com webpage for the latest on that. But so, big picture. Severe thunderstorm warnings now, Lake County, Northern Geauga, Cuyahoga County, Summit, Medina County, Wayne County, eastern half of Ashland County, although I think Ashland County now severe clear. Lorain County, severe clear. Enjoy your evening. But then into Holmes County, we still have some very high-speed wind that's coming in too. I promised we would talk about Tuscarawas County, so let's get down there. My friends down here toward Newcomerstown. And we do have this particular storm right there that's coming in. So Bucks down to Newcomerstown, up here into New Philadelphia, Dover, Bolivar and Zor area, up here, Sugar Creek. And so this is going to continue to move to the northeast. So this would be the heads up really for New Philadelphia, because this is going to be moving your way rather quickly. You got about 20 minutes or so until that starts to move in. I'm sure you're seeing the light show out to the west. We've been getting a lot of scary pictures of clouds because people think, you know, clouds are kind of the harbinger and they know exactly what's going on just by looking at the clouds. Hey, if it's a dark out, you see a dark cloud, guess what? It's probably going to rain. Beyond that, things can get a little bit sneaky, but the clouds are definitely getting dark, and it is getting dark anyway, even though it's only 8:14. I mean, we're in our longest days of the year right now. I still can't see the buildings across the road from the station. So we're still kind of in the thick of things as far as the dark skies. But, you know, the line as it moves through, once it moves through, then we should start to see things brighten up to the west. So, by the way, if you are on our feed, I wonder if I could pop this up and look at this real quick. Sorry. If you've done this with me before, you know, we just kind of go extemporaneous. That's how we roll. Let me see. Is anybody else trying out this new Facebook look? It's black and it's weird and I don't like it very much. I tried it and now I don't know how to turn it off. so I'm stuck with it, unfortunately. But let's see what we have going on. I don't see anything. Okay, good. Well, I am on Twitter. You can hit me there at Betsy Kling. I think everybody in the world probably knows that. And then I'm also on Instagram. I've got some updates that I've been trying to fire off on Instagram. We're starting to see some reports. Let's look at reports, actually. Let me see what we can come up with here. Let's back it out. Come on. Thank you. We'll come down here to reports. And boom, there we go. All right, now we can talk about some reports. Obviously, the reports are coming in areas where we have already seen the wind. This is the airport, I'm telling you right now, because they have it really easy to get an ob. So they had the peak 53-mile-per-hour gust as the storm came through. Just north of there, up into Fairview Park and Rocky River, that's where kind of the wind core was a little bit more evident on the radar, so maybe they missed out on that particular one. But you can see here, there are reports all over. Nearly 60-mile-per-hour wind gust reported at Mansfield. That's Mansfield's Lam Airport. So that's an airport indicator, which is pretty good. We move up here just offshore of Huron, and you can see the Mesonet station. That's at the lights there at Huron. 41-mile-per-hour wind gust. That doesn't seem like it's too crazy, right? But then you actually start to get into what that wind is doing. You can talk wind speeds all you want, but it's the damage that really makes the difference. Small trees snapped 3 miles west of Homerville there in Spencer Township. Look up here into Lorain County and Elyria. Multiple trees down, 3 on houses. Time is estimated from the radar. So they get the reports at the National Weather Service of damage that's happening, and then they try and back it up and see exactly what time that damage happens. They do that because when you issue a warning, there's accountability for that. You have to prove that that warning actually verified, and so they have to go back through and make sure all of those things verify. This is the Mifflin area, and I know what this report is, if it'll do it. Several semi-trucks flipped over at the Interstate 71 and US 30 interchange. 4-foot diameter tree down nearby on West US 30. Let me say that again, a 4-foot diameter tree. That is a big tree that has come down near State Route 603 there in the Mifflin area. Then down here into Loudonville, this is the stuff that scares me because we have campers that are at Mohican State Park. Mohican State Park is fantastic and it's beautiful, but campers are not where you want to ride out a severe thunderstorm. And you can see we have thunderstorm wind damage with several trees down in the Loudonville area, which is pretty close to where Mohican is, obviously. Sandusky County, which is farther west, that's west of Sandusky. This is Sandusky County out here, right there, that little slice. They've been reporting lots of trees down and power lines down, power outages, power poles have been reported down. So they are kind of working through their own emergency management protocols right now to get the latest on all of that. And then if I check one thing over here real quick, there's all kinds of smaller reports. Westlake, it looks like we've got some power poles potentially snapped and lines down. Let's see, 57. All right, so we're kind of digesting as we go here. All right, let's pop this back up and get the latest. So we have a new severe thunderstorm warning for the southern portion of Geauga County now and northern Portage County. That's this particular storm. Look what the bullseye. Remember I was talking about the lightning not too long ago? Lightning is often a great way to kind of see the health of a thunderstorm. If there's a lot of lightning, it's a healthy thunderstorm. That is indeed the case. Farther south into Wayne County, Worcester's getting hammered right now. Lots of big lightning and thunder going on there. The high-speed winds have been hanging out just offshore of Lake County and Geauga County. If we pop up the velocity, we'll peek in on that. It's still coming on shore. And I think this is going to be kind of a big issue for areas farther to the east. So we're going to talk about Fairport Harbor, and then you move east into Madison on the lake, Geneva on the lake too. This is all coming your way, so just hang in there. I mean, this is not the thing you want to see here on the radar, and especially because we've already had all these reports of damage farther to the west. Come on, little thing. And then you start to get onshore here, and we're starting to see some of these 62-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Look right on Mentor. Look at that, 63-mile-per-hour wind gust. That's going to cause some power outages. Speaking of, let's get a quick update what we're talking about with some of those power outages. 1,700 plus without power in Ashland County. Let's see, 12,400 plus in Erie County without power right now. 10,662 in Cuyahoga County without power, and that number is going to be going up, I guarantee it. It's just an infrastructure thing. Let's see, we've got, I want to see where in Cleveland it is the worst. Sometimes they break it down for you. 1,500 in North Olmsted. Almost 2,000 in Rocky River. Remember, we were talking about that's where the wind gust was, just north of the airport. Moving on, Erie County, 12,400 without power. 3,500 in Lorain County without power. 1,500 Marion County. 14,540 in Ottawa County. That includes the islands, by the way. Almost 4,000 in Richland. Summit County, 492. Your number is going to be going up. And then, yeah, Wayne County, 253 so far. So again, it just kind of depends on where you hit into things. Let me see if I can pop this bad boy back up. I keep hearing little dings, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, so we talk more. This is basically just for anybody who's curious at this point, because I know that, you know, there's always the possibility I'm going to cut in. So that's, you know, you stay in this mode for right now. And if I have to cut in for a tornado warning or something, then I'm here to do that. But in the meantime, there's a lot of people who are wondering what's going on. And this is severe enough. We've got this, you know, 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds on the radar. That's enough that it's concerning to me. So stick with it. Why not? You can always pop off the feed. No worries about that. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But obviously, you're tuning in for a reason. Sometimes people are just plain old bored. Other times people are actually legitimately concerned about what's going on. I just want to get the latest. So you can't get any more up to date than live, and that's where we are right now. The wind is now coming through Hudson. It's going to be moving into areas of Bainbridge and southern portions of Geauga County, as well as northern northern Portage County, Streetsboro over to Manaway area, north of Rootstown. We're coming through Kent and Stowe right now into portions of Ravenna. So this is all kind of lifting up to the northeast, and you can kind of see how the line of demarcation of the severe thunderstorm warning is oriented southwest to northeast. That's a good idea, kind of a good sign of where things are going. It's your alleyway, your pathway that the storms are going to continue to follow. Then we go farther south and west. Things are looking pretty good. We still have some pretty significant wind gusts that are coming through portions of Medina and Wayne counties. And now we're starting to see the wind picking up in western sections of Stark County too, as these little thunderstorms begin to move in. We'll pop it back over here. This is a pretty potent little thunderstorm that's sitting here in Worcester. We've got a lot of lightning showing up. I haven't talked about hail very much because we really haven't had too much in the way of hail so far. Just seeing some little hail core possibilities. Pea-sized hail has been reported a couple times throughout the evening as all this has been going on, but we really haven't seen anything. And then those of you who are very concerned about tornadoes, there's your shear. So really the types of tornadoes that we're talking about tonight would be very low end. This is not anything that like what you would see out in the plain states. Even though we have all these ingredients, there's a lot of shear that's missing. We're just not seeing that turning of the wind as you go up in the atmosphere. There's some speed shear, which basically means we have layers of wind that's getting faster at different levels, and sometimes that can make funky things happen. But we're not seeing directional shear, which is when you really start to see things crossing over, and that's when the rotation kicks up a little bit. There's a new severe thunderstorm warning that was issued for Tuscarawas and Carroll counties. Now, kind of funny note here. If you've tracked with me any amount of time, you will know that we sit between two National Weather Service offices. The sweep is suddenly coming from a different direction. We use the National Weather Service office Doppler radar in Cleveland for much of northeast Ohio, but Tuscarawas and Carroll counties are covered by the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh. And this area just so happens to sit between both radars. So you can see the data changing as I rock back and forth. So we're switching between the two radars. At times you may think that's not great because you're kind of in this conflict zone, but you actually have two different radars examining the same part of the storm, which is good news for you. So the Pittsburgh National Weather Service office went ahead and said this thing is cooking, it's coming to the east, and as it does so, it's going to be rocking the wind, and it's going to be coming through portions of New Philadelphia, right up toward the Carrollton area. So Warwick, Roswell, Bowerston, Valley View, and then into Carrollton by about, I know, half hour or so. We'll start to see this storm moving into those areas too. So let me pop in very quickly. I'm just going to pull up the Pittsburgh Weather Service chat in another thing. So now you'll really start to hear my computer going bananas if you do watch that. Let's see if they just have any notes that they want me to see. Nope. All right, Jason Fraser just posted in our in-house chat some sun poking out. So we might actually get some rainbow pictures going on. That could be kind of cool. That would be areas farther to the west. Not you folks yet, down that way. Plus the sun angle's pretty low, so we're gonna have to watch for that. But this particular part of the storm is not necessarily, the most severe. Some of the velocities that we've been seeing actually are higher in portions of Holmes County than in Tuscarawas County at this point. Let me get this back. I'm gonna rock it back over here. We're gonna look at that. Now, when we flip it to the Weather Service office in Pittsburgh, the picture looks a little different, doesn't it? This is the incoming wind that's coming. And as we're gonna, come on little baby. I think this thing's getting confused because my fancy dancy desk is in the way and it doesn't like that. But man, do you hear that? I have Chris Reithmiller, one of our production folks, is here in the studio with me. You hear that thunder out there? It's just that low boom, 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 boom rolling. It's kind of cool. Anywho, there's the wind that's coming in. Now remember, this is pretty far from the radar. We're on the outer fringes of the Weather Service's area of concern, so we're higher up. But these thunderstorms are propelling the wind down. That's a big part of tonight's threat as we continue to watch this. And then you can see they're issuing some warnings farther to the south too. So yeah, here we go with the Guernsey County. Gotta love Guernsey County, just because you can say that. Let's see. Moo, yes, Chris adds over there the peanut gallery. That's all you know. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, Chris. All right, here we go. There's the lightning and the thunder. Now, this area down here is no stranger to severe weather. We get all kinds of crazy weather happening in Holmes County and Tuscarawas County as it's continuing to move to the east. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Portage and Stark, so now we're starting to see that radar fill in a little bit. Let's go farther north. We'll see the data switch here. Boom, there it switched. And this is the Stark County area now under a severe thunderstorm warning for this storm that's coming out of Wayne County, and then also this part that's coming up out of Holmes County as well. So Wilmot sits right down here in southwestern Stark County. It's the home of my favorite restaurant, Amish Door Restaurant, if anybody else has ever been there. In the olden days, before the virus, they had the most fantastic salad bar on the planet. I don't know how they're handling that now with the virus restrictions, but great restaurant there. And then you move right up the street into Brewster, home of Brewster cheese, the best Swiss cheese on the planet, and that is also the home of Shearer's potato chips. Did you know there's an outlet store there? And you can get some of the test flavors of potato chips. It's kind of interesting. That's where I had pickle chips before pickle chips were a thing. So just so you know, put that on your to-do list of fun things here in Northeast Ohio. But we are now coated with severe thunderstorm warnings on the I-77 corridor. Lake County, Geauga County, Portage County, Stark County, Tuscarawas, Carroll County, all under severe thunderstorm warnings right now, all because this line of storms continues to move to the east. We told you the 8 o'clock hour is when Cleveland would be getting tagged, and that seemed to come through just fine. So I'd have to put it over here to the next county line between 9 and 10, and I think we're looking at the state line area between 10 and 11 then. So you have a little bit of time as this continues to move in. But if we're just looking at the lightning, we're looking at the health of the storm. There it is, right there in eastern Cuyahoga County, northern Summit County, back here into Wayne County, and then farther south into Tuscarawas County. It's kind of an easy way to dive right into where things are the worst. Now, if we flip it over and we talk about wind, the story gets a little bit different. The highest winds are going to be where there's the least friction, so that's going to be over the lake at this point. And look at that wind core, it's just sailing out over the lake. And then you can kind of see it's brushing right up along the immediate lakeshore areas in Lake County at this point. We're probably starting to see the winds settle down just a little bit in greater Cleveland, but the winds are definitely picking up on State Route 2 and then also 90 in the Lake County area. Let's see. Here is the good news is it appears the winds are going to be trending down. We just got a beautiful picture of a rainbow in. It's actually a double rainbow on Frank Masick at WKYC Studios. That's one of our directors. So that's a good thing to see, right? Oh, there's another one, double rainbow. All right, guys, be on rainbow watch then. Farther west, sometimes you just don't know what you're gonna end up finding. I'm getting a lot of rainbow pictures. Hot dog, come on, this is great news, right? All right, so I just retweeted those out. That's always fun. People like that. All right. So we recenter. Okay, focus. We do have the high winds. They're moving right along the lakeshore. We talked about that. Not as high a wind gust threat that is moving through the northeast corner of Cuyahoga County and into far northwestern Geauga County, southern sections of Lake County. So we're out around Chesterland. Look down here into Chagrin Falls. That's a pretty good wind gust going through. Chagrin Falls, of course, has a lot of big trees, that little historic town that's so pretty. And that is going to continue to move up through Russell Township, Newberry area, Novelty, heads up for you friends. And then back here also as you head out on 422, so that'd be Mayfield, Mayfield Heights. Farther north, Mayfield Heights is sitting right up in here or so, and then that's going to continue into Chester Township. Right out by Willoughby right now, there's 64-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That's really kind of a high wind core here that's moving through these areas, and we're probably still getting some damage that's reported out in the Menor area too. Trying to keep a couple different eye on a couple different things as we seeing, because sometimes we have employees that live out there and they'll send me messages and whatnot. I don't think my phone might have died. I hope it didn't die. Okay. Anywho, so when we look back at this reflectivity, and we're going to track it just a little bit farther south into Solon, Bainbridge, Twinsburg, now getting that. Now here's that little bow that we talked about a while ago. So that's a sign of high wind. That's going to send it right up into the southern portions of Portage County, Geauga County. So this is Auburn Township. Burton, you're out in this direction. And then you move, Chagrin Falls is always easy to pick out because it's that little nub there, but Bainbridge Township, and then farther northeast out toward Novelty. So heads up for you folks in that direction. Let's see, Holmes and Wayne. So, all right, and let's zoom it out just a little bit more. And go farther south into southern portions of Summit County. And this little core of storms that's sitting right over Portage Lakes right now, back to Barberton and Norton, Kenmore area. This is moving east toward Lakemore, Ellett area, and that will continue to move then into southern sections of Portage County. So Rootstown down into Brimfield. We're probably going to clip this into Hartville, also in Stark County. And look what's coming into west end of Stark County right now. The Brewster area, see, told ya. Massillon, you get into Canton, Plain Township, Jackson Township, over to Louisville, Marlboro Township, and then eventually over into the Alliance area. So that will continue to move to the northeast. So let's get an updated track here in Stark County as this is going to continue to move about 20-30 minutes or so through Perry Township, Perry Heights, Canton, Plain, Louisville, you are in there too, and then eventually Alliance. Minerva, we would be looking a little bit farther to the southwest for your part of the storm that is now coming into Tuscarawas County. We're going to switch radars right there. And you can see that New Philadelphia is now in the thick of things as this particular part of this storm is moving in. This is still a good heads up for you in Carrollton. You got a little bit of time as it's going to continue to move in, but you can definitely see a definitive wind gust line here, and that will continue to move your way. So let's track that. We'll go right up toward Carrollton, about 20 minutes or so till that gets to you. The Valley View area, Sherrodsville, and Mill as well. So let's see, let me back it out, and we're going to go over who's clear and who's not at this point. I think that might be a good time to reset. Come on, there we go. Okay, Cuyahoga County, we are now severe clear. We probably still have some rain, some thunder happening, maybe some gusty winds. The only exception would be areas far eastern Cuyahoga County. We still have the severe thunderstorm warning that's hanging on there. Lake County still very much in the thick of things with the high wind threat coming through. Geauga County, you go down into Portage County, Summit County, eastern half of Wayne County, eastern half of Holmes County, and then you flip it over into Stark, Tuscarawas, and Carroll counties. These are all the counties that are currently under severe thunderstorm warnings. The severe thunderstorm watch is going to continue to expire from west to east. So Erie, Huron, and Richland counties out of it now. No severe weather for you. No severe weather. We're severe clear now also in Lorain County and Ashland County. Again, Cuyahoga County, we're just in the extreme eastern part of Cuyahoga County. Western Cuyahoga County, severe clear at this point. Medina County, other than the Wadsworth area, you're severe clear. And then down into Wayne County, areas, I would say east of 42. You are in the thick of things, but west of 42, you are severe clear, and the eastern half of Holmes County, as mentioned. Let me get another update really quick. Coshocton County, that's down here. There's reports of trees down, and that would be from this thunderstorm that's coming through Tuscarawas and Carroll counties right now. So the good news is we have not had any of the T word mentioned, and hopefully that will continue to be the case because we just don't need to play that game tonight. I think this has been fun enough, right? By the way, I'm on vacation this week. This is how I spend my vacation, but came in for this because I'd be home fretting anyway, so I might as well just come in and work it and help out a little bit. We've got everybody kind of out in the field. It's always nice to have somebody back at home base, so that's my job. That's where I stand, and so that's what I'm doing. So you got to put up with me. I apologize if that does not make you happy, but sometimes we just can't all be happy, right? All right, I'm starting to sound like my mom. Now we have big problems. So, all right, here is the southern flank here, this nasty storm that is coming through Tuscarawas County right now. We are south of US 30, obviously, if we're coming through here. US 30 runs up here into Canton, but Tuscarawas County, so Dover and New Philadelphia. It's east of New Cumberstown now, but probably coming through Naden-Hutton. This is going to continue to move out toward Delroy, Leesville Lake, Carroll County area, also into Carrollton, and that will continue with that big wind. We're going to pop it over in the winds here and keep an eye on that because that is just pretty incredible to see that very definitive sharp wind gust line that is coming out with this. Now remember, we're pretty high up in the atmosphere, so this is kind of your mid-level wind that's shooting into these thunderstorms, and the thunderstorms then can turn that wind and propel it downward, so we get these downburst winds. So we'll probably get some downburst wind damage that's reported here in Tuscarawas and Carroll counties. And when you hear that dinging, that means I'm getting messages from all kinds of stuff. So Coshocton County, we already talked about. Oh, it's a different report from Coshocton County, another tree down in Coshocton. And then we go farther north. Okay, we're almost there. Okay. Then let's pop it back over here, and we're going to go a little bit farther north, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Stark County. So we'll pick up the National Weather Service radar out of Cleveland. Look, notice Medina County line right here, Medina Line Road. We are just about done. I think the severe threat is east of Medina, so I'm going to clear Medina. Medina County is severe clear, although you still have lightning, so be careful, stay inside. And then Wayne County, western Wayne County. So Worcester is severe clear at this point. But we still have some pretty active weather that's happening right now. Doylestown over into Clinton Township, and then farther south as you head down toward Dalton area, that is going to continue to move into the western sections of Stark County. So that being said, Portage Lakes, green, out by Akron-Canton Airport that sits right here in the southeast corner of Summit County. You get into Canton, Jackson Township, and then back into Massillon. And then farther south as you head down toward Bolivar and Zor. This is a pretty potent little thunderstorm. It is kicking out, obviously, quite a bit of lightning, so we know it still has some good juju going on, some nice growth going on. But the overall, the most severe stuff seems to be farther north and farther south. But if we take a look at the velocity data and we look at the winds, now we're starting to see that, there is definitely some wind concerns, as we're not getting those really bright blue colors like what we were getting farther south into Tuscarawas County. We're probably looking a little bit lower in the atmosphere. And just because I want to rocket back and forth, remember I talked about Stark County as being that area where we can get in between two radars. We can get a look at two different sides of the storm. We are still seeing some high winds that are coming through here. And so, it's one of those things that we're just going to keep an eye on, part and parcel with what everybody else has been getting. I'm going to check one more thing over here. Take a look at that. Yeah. So there may be a little bit of a circulation right here, and that is a little bit of a concern. We're going to wait and see. Let's see if we have anything going with the National Weather Service on that. Any word? Somebody just texted me too. Any thoughts on Stark County? How about that? We'll see what they come back with on that. So this would be just south of Canton, and this is, again, is going to move to the northeast. So that would put it into Louisville area, if this is going to be something that they would be concerned about as far as any type of a circulation, meaning a tornado warning. I'm not issuing a tornado warning. I cannot issue tornado warnings. That's illegal. I can just kind of notify you, give you the heads up. But obviously, here is the city of Canton. Louisville sits right out in about here, and this is coming right up through Canton and into that area. I'm going to get a little bit closer in here and prep. Let's see what we got going on. Okay, so we are just south of downtown Canton now. Oh, Osnaburg is out here, of course. And then Louisville, 43 cuts right through there down towards Sandy and north of East Sparta. And these are all areas where we've had so much severe weather over the years. It's kind of weird when you track the same places over and over. But this is just now crossing 77 moving east. The reason this is concerning is because sometimes this signature can also show that we've got a high wind burst that's coming through, meaning a microburst, and that could be what's happening right now, that we have that happening. I'm not seeing anything that's particularly scary, but they haven't answered me yet, so they're probably looking very closely at that too. So that's a severe. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warning. Obviously, that would cover the wind gusts. But if we have something kind of weird that's happening down here, it would be just south of downtown Canton, moving up toward the Louisville and Osnaburg areas. Might want to take a little heads up on that one and keep an eye out. We could have some wind damage that's coming right along this corridor right here. So if I track that for you, let's go right up here. We'll kind of move it toward the Alliance area, but there you see Waco, Plain, Louisville, and Freeburg. So those are some of the locations where we may have that little circulation coming through. That could produce some localized wind damage, maybe downburst wind damage. Could be some circulation. I'm not there, but it certainly is showing up on the radar as that is a possibility right now. And just trying to make sure we're not missing anything on the bigger picture too. So I have my computer with my kind of info threads happening. My iPad has a radar on it that I'm looking at constantly. And then I have other social media feeds and other info feeds on my phone. Everything is on tripods and tables and all kinds of craziness. And there's cords all over the place with extension cords so I can stay powered up here. So it's quite the contraption. Usually I don't have time to set up. Usually it's like just run in and go. So that was a little bit of a luxury that I decided to take advantage of today. So it's nice to have the setup here because I have everything right at my fingertips. Look at this line that's coming now from around Streetsboro down through Kent into the east and southeast corner of Summit County, so around Ellitts, Talmadge area, farther south into Lakemore and Mogador area, and then you move down into northwest corner of Stark County into the Maslin and Brewster area. This is going to continue to sweep to the east. So Hartville sits out here. Of course, a lot of folks know about the Hartville Marketplace and the flea market out there. And then once you move a little bit farther east, West Branch State Park. So if you've got friends or family that are camped there at West Branch, let them know they should probably get to shelter. This is going to be a little bit dicey here for a while. And then we also will take that even farther to the east. Oh, come on. Okay. Good. So the National Weather Service, so when I sent them a note and I said, thoughts on Stark County, you know, I'm seeing this. They say, we don't think that's a real feature. That's good. But it's a good surge into southwest Portage County. So that's kind of up here. This is what they're talking about now. So let's talk about surge in these storms, and that would be a wind surge. And we are probably seeing some of this coming in here. Into that southwest corner of Portage County. I'm still watching this though, because that is kind of funky to me. And like I said, you know, we can rock it back and forth. We're getting pretty far away from the radar, so we're going higher up in the thunderstorm. Mid-level circulations happen. Have you ever seen the mothership supercells? So you see where it looks like those clouds are just wrapping around the thunderstorm. That's mid-level wind circulations. You're going to find that. But when we go farther to the south, and we're going to pick up that other radar from Pittsburgh, now you're seeing that we're still seeing that circulation. And the other concerning part of that is it is on the end of this particular area of wind surge. So are we getting some kind of a wrap feature here? That would be a very good question to answer. Let's see, Smithville, we have trees that have been reported down in Wayne County, so that's back up here. And that would be the part of the storm that we were just talking about a moment ago that is coming into that northwest corner of Stark County and southern sections of Summit County too. Let me check my Twitter feed and see what folks are saying, because sometimes people will notify me. Oh boy, lots and lots and lots of pictures. Oh, we have mammatus clouds showing up. Those are the clouds that look like they're hanging down. Those are always interesting to see. Sun pictures. Canton, there's a nice picture from Canton. Lil Smith, thank you very much. Plain Township, Valerie Betts Johnson, thank you very much. Yeah, those clouds look kind of ominous, didn't they? They were really rolling in. So, okay, I don't see anything else that's terrible for us, so that's a good news. Let's skip that, let's see. Very gusty winds, we knew that was happening. Lots of rainbow pictures. Oh my goodness, thank goodness, right? Okay. Now, let's, I'm going to keep an eye on that Stark County thing. So let's flip it back over to this, and we're going to head up into Summit County, Portage County, and Geauga County. So here's our line, right? Continues to move to the east. Man, we are getting ever so close to that state line. We're inching toward the state line. Okay, Holmes and Wayne severe thunderstorm warning is canceled, so that's the southern one there. That is canceled because the storm line has moved out, but we still have very active weather now. Central Geauga County, northwest corner of Portage County up to Rittman, but that's going to continue to move east, or excuse me, Ravenna. That's going to continue to move east toward Palmyra. Deerfield, you're going to be getting this too. And then farther south into the southeast corner of Summit County. Yeah, Marion, okay. And then I do want to get back up here too, to Lake County, because this is where we've been watching that wind core that was sitting just offshore, and it seems to be coming onshore, spreading southward. We likely have some high-speed wind now coming through central sections of Lake County, northern Geauga County. We're talking 60+ mile-per-hour wind potential. Again, we're getting farther away from the radar, so the beam is just up a little bit higher, but we do have that possibility that the thunderstorm, it will push those high-speed winds down, and that's when we get downburst winds and we have microbursts and whatnot. So we're going to continue to watch that into Menor on the Lake, oh my goodness, Madison on the Lake, Geneva on the Lake, and then you get into Ashtabula, Conneaut. This is a heads up for you that this is going to be coming your way, but certainly some high wind gusts are very possible right now in central sections of Lake County and then farther south into Geauga County as well. So, whoops, bad click. Check real quick here. Okay, let's go back. Whoops. Okay, let's back it out and we will reset. Keep an eye on Canton too, because that is like my area where I'm really watching right now. Just to keep an eye on things. Let's see what Pittsburgh has to say here. Guernsey County has some trees down. That's farther south, but there you see, okay. So wind problems, maybe wind problems, And then these are all little bursts of wind that we have to watch as well. But if we rocket, and we're going to go over here, now you can see that we definitely have some high wind that we are watching come into Carroll County now. So we're getting closer in Leesville Lake right now. It's getting kind of dicey. And then you move into Carrollton too. So just south of Canton, that's that circulation area that I'm watching. We're keeping a really close eye on that as of right now. I literally kind of don't want to walk away from it because it's just kind of doing its own thing. But the fact that we're seeing that same circulation on two different radars, to me, is kind of significant. There you can really see the rocking back and forth with the two different radars. And so I'm going to zoom in on that one more time. We're going to look at that kind of closer. And there you see it. So we talk about reds and greens together. Green means it's coming toward the radar. Red means it's going away from the radar. I mean, I'm not seeing anything that is like showing me terribly scary things. If there's even an inflow notch, it's very small at this point. Let's check our shear. Not really seeing a whole lot of shear. So we are getting some pretty heavy rain that's been coming out of these storms. You can see these rain rates that we have been keeping up with as these storms have been moving east. I'm just kind of working my way through all my tools here. But some of these thunderstorms have been producing some pretty incredible rain rates, 4-inch-per-hour rain rates. That's a huge deal. That's a pretty significant thing, certainly. And then, watching still. Okay, that has fallen apart. Good. Okay. So, yeah, there's a couple people that are asking now about Canton and that little chunk. It's definitely showing us something, right? So winds coming toward, winds going away. It just kind of looks funky. And without any ground truth, and I'm trying to get my ground truth from the National Weather Service, because sometimes people will send bad ground truth, and that's not what we want to do. But if you can kind of rely on credible services, and I know you're probably screaming at me right now, let's see, rainbows, lots of pretty rainbow pictures out there. Not seeing anything. All right, and I know you may be screaming at me on Facebook, and I apologize. I'm just not seeing that right now. Let me get myself back together here. Okay. Let's see. Home, reset. Okay. There we go. Okay. And it is true, I talk to myself the entire time. This is how it really looks. This is a real life thing here, that I talk to myself the entire time I'm watching all this happening, because my brain is trying to process so many different things at once. All right, so we still have the warnings out. We still have the watches out. The watches are starting to come down one by one. That little circulation, everybody's keeping a close eye on. I wish I had some kind of notification of that, what was going on. Oh, hey. Let's go back. Uh-oh. I have my own live feed up, so this is terrifying. This is not what I like. So Julius asked if I could show the storms in 3D. I can. I have to get out of the picture to do it, though. If you really want me to do that, I'm happy to, because it is kind of a cool thing. Just give me a minute. I'll go do that right now, as we're watching our little line move east. So we do have the ability to look at the radar and kind of check things out in 3D, which is super fun. My mouse is acting crazy right now. All right, stand by. And when we can do that, we can slice like this. And then it takes us in 3D and shows us. Is that what you were looking for, Julius? So these thunderstorms, this is at least showing that we've got updrafts up to about 30,000 feet or so. I'm sure that we probably have some storms that are going a little bit higher than that based on the heat that we had today. Let's see what we get down here in Canton. A little bit higher in Canton, maybe about 35,000 feet. You can see some of these high tops here. And then the fun thing is you can also grab this and move it back and forth so we can really interrogate the storm a little bit. So just one of the fun things that we get to use. Let me reset our view here. And this, now you can really see kind of the shape that we're talking about. So since I have the ability to use the mouse now, I will. This is the shape. So we've got all of these little individual cells. Remember earlier we kind of had one of these, and we had one here, and we had one here, and then there was one farther south here, right? Now they're kind of congealing into two segments. And that is one reason why that Canton storm was concerning to me, is because that's kind of where that intersection is between the two different segments, and sometimes the wind can get a little funky there, and I think that's exactly what's happening. The question is, does that translate all the way to the surface? And that is not always the case. So that's where things get a little bit little dicey when you start to talk about actually doing warnings. And when the National Weather Service issues a tornado warning, it is a very big deal. You would not believe they obviously will make the determination very quickly. They will send out the warning, but then they have to prove that there was something that happened there, and they have to maintain what's called a false alarm ratio. They have accountability standards, and they go back and they look and see how all of these various parameters came together. The damage reports, was the damage tornadic, was it straight line wind? And so, it's not taken lightly when any kind of a warning is issued. As a matter of fact, we were seeing these warnings coming out for these 70-mile-per-hour winds and potentially more, and not soon after, the Weather Service was like, has anybody heard about any damage that would verify our 70-mile-per-hour winds? So they are always looking to make sure that they have the latest information and that they are keeping a very close eye on things as well. So I am keeping an eye on, I have the chat up now, so I can see the, the chat comments. I probably see them late, but I can still see them. So here, I'll send you all a note. Hi, everyone. And so did you see that? Maybe? I'm in the right place? So there's that. There's 288 people watching now. If you're in it this long, you're in it forever. I'm telling you what. That's just kind of the way it goes, right? People are like, you get storm fatigue after a while, and you're kind of done. So let's see. Yeah, people are definitely watching that thing in Stark County right now. Oh, my clicker's over here. And my battery is running out on my IFB, which is my little speaker in my ear. So I may not be able to hear myself talk, which is a blessing. So maybe we'll just keep on rolling with that. But back to this, right? We're going to follow through all the way. So I'm pretty sure we should be getting a severe thunderstorm warning for Ashtabula County. I mean, there's this whole progress eastward. Why not at this point? So we'll see if they're going to issue off that. If they don't issue off of Ashtabula, if we don't see anything coming for Trumbull County, I'm going to bail because we're probably going to see this done. But obviously keeping a close eye down here, my friends in Stark County, as far as that little circulation goes, to see what's going to happen with that. I grabbed the wrong clicker. This is the way my day has been, I think. Let's see. Oh, it's not in. I know this will shock everyone, but there is user error. It happens. There we go. We will reset and tell my little computer to wake up. Let me take a drink of water real quick. Oh, that's better. Okay. So backing up a little bit, let's talk about these reports, because that's what they're kind of talking about right now, is all the different reports that we have had. And there have been a lot of severe thunderstorm reports, wind reports mainly, especially out here. So in the city of Sandusky, the State Theater was was blown down. Parts of it, walls of the State Theater, the brick State Theater, the beautiful historic brick State Theater has been blown down, parts of it at least, so that's out in this area. This is where they had reports of 75-mile-per-hour wind gusts moving through, and not just a gust. This was for 8 minutes. They had 70-plus mile-per-hour winds howling out there. They've had high wind reports out on the islands as well. Then you move farther east, and you can kind of see all the wind reports so far have been right in here. Nothing from Huron County yet. That doesn't mean there's not reports. There are some small reports that kind of come through different channels of some wind damage and trees down and whatnot in these areas. But then you can also see we've got these different wind damage features going on farther to the south. So let's query a couple of these and see what we've got. Let's start with this one out east, because this is where that high wind core was going through. Come on now, you stinker. There it is. Trees down in Cleveland Heights. If you were with me when this happened an hour ago, we were talking about how all of those big old homes in Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights and whatnot, University Heights, they have all the big beautiful trees out there. So that's a shame, because that can cause a lot of damage when when those trees start coming down. And then farther down into southern Lorain County, we talked about this one. We popped this one up earlier with Homerville. Some trees down. Whoa, we've got, oh, that's an error. I know, user error, shocker. But then you come back in here, there's Sandusky, trees down. Now there were trees down, power lines down, active power lines down, and then of course that State Theater also suffered some damage. Rocky Ridge, we've had a barn blown down. That's out in Ottawa County, so that's out in this area here. And these are live reports. As the National Weather Service puts them out, we get them in. And we've been kind of keeping up with them a little bit. Southern sections of Wayne County, trying to get these Fredericksburg trees and power lines down. So obviously there's been a lot of different problems. Okay, 1 mile east of Chagrin in Geauga County, we do have wires down and trees across roadways. So that's up in here. See that one? It just popped in, didn't it? So wires down, trees across the roadway. That just came in. The time of the report was about 20 minutes ago. So it takes them a little bit to turn all of these reports as they start to come in. But that, you know, just kind of proof that we're still getting active weather moving through northeast Ohio. The areas that are severe clear at this point include Cuyahoga County, severe clear. Medina County, severe clear. Wayne County, severe clear. Holmes County is severe clear, but you still have a little bit of rumbling going on, so just be careful. Lorain County is severe clear, as well as Ashland County, Ashland County, Erie, Huron, and Richland counties, all severe clear at this point, and now the severe thunderstorm watch has been canceled for those counties as well. That's good timing. Now we've had a severe thunderstorm warning issued for Ashtabula County. You notice I always say it so slow, Ashtabula, because my brain's picking up between Ashland and Ashtabula. And then also Trumbull County, and that's for this line that's coming through. Now we know we still have damaging wind because we just had that report come out of Chardon. So we'll zoom in just a little bit here, and we'll start to track this as it's coming through. North Madison, Geneva on the Lake, Geneva State Park, gorgeous campground. If you've not been there, it is lovely, although right now it probably would not be so lovely, especially because they have the pit toilets there, and that would not be fun to go hang out in a pit toilet. If you're camping, I've done it, it's not great. To get out of any kind of a thunderstorm, you want to go into town and seek shelter there, certainly. But then we're going to move it over to Ashtabula and Jefferson, and then you get into portions of like Rock Creek and Orwell, eventually over into Kingsville, Conneaut area, Andover, state parks out there, Pymatuning, Lake is out there, so certainly that would be a heads up too. Andover has a long history with really weird weather, and so that would be the heads up for you folks over in Andover. And if there's some folks that are camping out that way, they want to certainly get to some shelter too, get out of those campers because they're not a good place to be. We are still picking up some significant wind that's coming out of these thunderstorms. Now, that being said, remember we're looking up in the thunderstorm, but the thunderstorms can take this wind that we're seeing and push it down, and that's when we have problems on the ground. So that's kind of the way we're looking at all of this as of right now. Let me take a quick peek at something. We just had an update from the Storm Prediction Center. They're talking about the watch and the squall line progressing across the region. Next couple of hours still poses a risk of damaging weather. Prefrontal squall line is filled in over the past couple of hours with a number of embedded bow, loop, radar reflectivity structures. We've talked about all that. The loop, line echo wave pattern, that was that little scalloped looking thing that came into the larger squall line. We've covered it, yay. And then that, that's that little bit of a signature as far as wind goes. But they're talking about weakening trends. This is good, we want that. But it is still very warm and very humid where these storms are moving, so nothing changes. We continue. Stay on course. With those high-speed winds coming through eastern portion of Lake County, northern Geauga County, Thompson Township, right in the middle of good old lake effect snow territory now, and now just coming into the western end of Ashtabula County and moving east. So this is that high-speed wind core. And again, it's elevated, but if it comes down, it's going to cause some damage. Then meanwhile, farther to the south, if we're going to continue just investigating wind, we still have gusty wind that is showing up here in the eastern half of Portage County, but we've really been keeping a close eye on Stark County too, specifically this area south of Alliance, north of Minerva. We're still getting some kind of circulation there. Now, there is kind of an intersection between two storm structures that's happening, and I say that because basically, and this is what we pointed out just a minute ago, I'll pop it out here, and we'll put on the reflectivity, and I can draw on this too. So we have a thunderstorm structure here, right? And then this is a different thunderstorm structure. And so where does that leave this area right here? And that's the concern as far as this little bit of rotation. Again, you can have broad scale rotation anytime in the atmosphere. You can have big storms rotating, and you can have smaller scale rotations that are elevated. You can have all different kinds of things, but does it actually translate to the ground for a tornado? And that's where things kind of get a little sketchy, especially in these types of situations. I think we probably have some broad level rotation that can show some signs of organization, that can also help to propel winds to the surface. It can kind of get things working. But hopefully that is not the case here in Stark County. And this feature will continue to move over toward the Youngstown area and Mahoning County. So if you got loved ones over in Youngstown, you may give them a heads up. They got this bumpy weather that's coming in. But the lightning really, to me, seems to have tamed down a little bit. Remember, we're talking about lightning as being kind of the pulse of a thunderstorm. It helps you understand how the health of the thunderstorm is doing. And it looks like that is coming down. New severe thunderstorm warning now east of Carrollton. So we still have this potent little storm that's moving through Carrollton right now. This was showing some pretty high-speed winds. There's the northern fringe. See this next structure? That's that southern storm structure we were talking about. Tuscarawas County is severe clear, still have winds, still have lightning, so obviously be careful, but the severe weather is now out into Carroll County, and that will continue to move over into Columbiana County. There's that circulating portion of the storm at the intersection of the two structures, and now we just have a new severe thunderstorm warning from Mahoning County. Just like that, it works. And that will continue to move to the east as well. So we're like hanging out, man. We are just right on the last dregs here of this line of storms. It has weakened a little bit, okay, from what we saw earlier. These storms were worrisome when they blew up in western Ohio, certainly. And let me see one thing real quick. Okay. And I am looking at some of your comments now. There's people making all kinds of interesting things. Okay. Watching on YouTube. All right, I see people. Okay. Thank you for saying hello back to me. It's nice to know there's other people watching. I've managed to lose 100 viewers. It's all good. People like, oh, I'm done. She's just blathering on now. Okay, see, Canton, is it officially clear? Canton is not clear yet. We're not quite done yet. We still have the kind of back end of that storm that's moving through the Canton area. But the worst of that storm is now over toward Alliance and Minerva, so that's not as bad. But we have that little circulation. It's kind of right over Louisville at this point and moving up toward the Alliance area. Eastern half of Portage County certainly getting socked pretty good right now with very heavy rain. Let's take a look at those rain rates, because now that these thunderstorms are starting to kind of collapse, boy, now you can really see that structure. Isn't that fascinating? This is where we're going to have a real high wind threat here, just based on how that is shaped. And, you know, somewhat of a wind threat here. It's not as sharp as this storm cell farther to the south. But if we take a look at some of these rain rates, this is just incredible. It's literally like the storms are wringing out the atmosphere. So we've got more than 0.65, I guarantee you. Yeah, there's some good ones. 1.85. Get right in there. Yeah, 3.2. That's a little better, certainly. So it is wailing rain in some locations farther to the south. So this is actually really good news. I'm very pleased with how this looks right now. This is pretty cool. Look at that. 1, 2, little tiny baby 3, 4. That is a line echo wave pattern. That's a big one. And then notice here, southern Ohio, they have the twisties, so they're dealing with that a little bit more there. There were some tornado warnings southwest of Columbus earlier, but all of that kind of faded away, although that may be kind of the same storm system, so to speak, that has been moving through. But you can kind of get an idea now of how all this has been moving. Pretty interesting to watch how it evolves and moves. It's a living, breathing thing, literally, as it continues to move eastward. And it's just living off of all of the heat, all of the humidity that we have had to deal with. We certainly don't need to look at the Wilmington radar, but you can get an idea of all the lightning that is going on. So let me do that real quick, because that's kind of a fun fact. Here, we'll just kind of draw it for Northeast Ohio. 249 strikes of lightning in the last 15 minutes. Not bad. Not crazy. We were getting 600 plus earlier this evening in areas farther west. So, you know, the thunderstorms are maintaining. They've got plenty of heat, plenty of humidity, and we know that there is that big push going on too. As a matter of fact, let's get an update on that right now. Here's your upper level low. So cold air in the upper part of the atmosphere, a storm system in the upper part of the atmosphere. It's all elevated. That creates a lot of energy. Dry, cold air is something that thunderstorms really like. And as this continues to move to the northeast, that is dragging a cold front through Ohio. These thunderstorms fired on the front when it was back here in Indiana and western Michigan earlier today, and then the thunderstorms kind of run out ahead of it. It's called a prefrontal squall line, and so it runs out ahead of the cold front itself. Let me show you something this should be kind of interesting with the humidity and whatnot. So it may look a little weird when I do it initially, but there you can see the demarcation line of where the very humid air is and the not so humid air, right? You can see it very clearly. This is the relative humidity. It's a little bit different way of looking at things. A lot of people like the relative humidity, just kind of the way it's always been. Dew point is a better measure of the comfort index in the atmosphere. Relative humidity is a ratio of how much moisture is in the air relative to how much moisture the air could hold at the current conditions. So it's like your little drinking glass. If your glass is half full, 50%. And that's kind of the way to look at it. But you can definitely see there is a very big difference from west to east in the area. And as that kind of moves to the east, we'll go back over the last 3 hours, you can literally see the thunderstorms moving through and kind of scraping all that humidity out by and large. Let's look at temperatures here real quick, because this is going to be interesting too. A little bit of rain-cooled air back here into western portions of Michigan, northwest Indiana, but it is definitely cooler as far as those temperatures go. And look up here, there's your cold air. It's up here in southern portions of Canada. So thankfully we do not have to deal with that, but you can definitely see that change in northeast Ohio from west to east as those thunderstorms come through. It is still in the mid-80s on the state line area, and then farther west where that rain has come through and the cooler air is coming in, we are finally getting down into the 60s and the 70s. Where we had the clearing, the temperatures recovered back into the 70s, but now we're getting towards sunset, or we're at sunset and things are going to continue to cool off. There is the humidity change. Come on, humidity change, right? Everybody is done. So we will continue to watch as this cold, or the drier air pushes in from the west. That's going to help to scour out this humidity. It should be a much better feeling tomorrow than what we have had throughout the day today with the comfort factor. So our storms rumble on. There you see it, 9 o'clock, so that's not too bad. The model did a pretty good job. Models are guidance, not gospel, a very important thing to remember. And then by the time we get to 10 o'clock, that should be out the state line area and then continuing to move out. And then we have that dry air that continues to move in, and that should be very good for all people in Northeast Ohio. So I'm pretty happy. I really was much more worried about today. Oh boy, look at there. See what we missed? Whew. That's pretty close. Pittsburgh Weather Service office issued that one. So that would be a tornado warning there in Columbiana County. So we don't have to deal with that, thankfully. We can look at it because that's what we can do. And because I'm curious as all get out what they were seeing. It is not the same part of the circulation as what we saw. Yeah, see, it's right here at the northern fringe. That's what we were talking about. The northern end of that echo, and sometimes you can get some little spin there. So certainly that is a pretty interesting thing. But again, that is not a county that we are in. We cover, so we don't have to jump into programming or anything. But that is pretty close. I mean, we're just one county away, so keep it south and just keep it west, and hopefully don't hurt anybody, obviously. But it's interesting that the Weather Service office in Pittsburgh went ahead and issued, and our folks didn't up here. So just differences of opinion sometimes, a little bit cautious of a call there, certainly. But there's that circulation. This is that same circulation we've been watching come all the way through Stark County. Now it's moving over into Mahoning County. And it may clip into, obviously, Youngstown, but then even the southeast corner of Trumbull County, too. So I tell you what, friends, it's been a long evening, hasn't it? You hanging in there with me? I'm trying. I'm starting to lose some steam. I had some pretzels and a couple nuts for dinner. That's it. So I'm getting ready to have some food when I get home. Probably a beer or you know, a few. Anywho. It's been good, but let's go back over here. Come on, computer, please work with me. There. And there. Okay, here we go. So, let's get caught up. Oak Harbor, there were 3.5-foot diameter trees snapped off 10 feet from the base. That's pretty bad. And Oak Harbor is west, that's Ottawa County, not anywhere that we cover initially. Come on. Oh, you know what? I didn't set that thing up again. Hi, Vince. Vince is one of our producers here. What's that?
11 p.m. team's waiting on a call for the weather at 11.
11 p.m. team is waiting on a call for the weather at 11. The storms will be out of here by 11. I'm more than happy to let Matt take back over, and I will go home.
You earned it.
Well, it's what I do. I mean, I got 140 people waiting on every word now as I'm blathering on. Yeah, I think that's probably this best way to play it for now, because the threat will be over. Matt can cover. If he does a first weather, you know, he can certainly speak to everything that happened. So, yeah, just run that one through the channels and make sure. At least that's what I would prefer, but sometimes, you know, I don't know that my bosses necessarily feel the same way I do about letting me go home right away. Ooh, things change. Anywho, all right. So, how many people have I sent away? Like, they're like so done with me anymore. Not that it really matters. 137. We're hanging in there, aren't we, friends? So, and I know you guys are having your own conversations, which is hysterical. I really enjoyed kind of popping in and seeing those sometimes too. All right, there we go. And we'll check Pittsburgh. Wow. Interesting. Different ways things are set. Okay. We are starting a gallery for rainbow pictures at WKYC.com. So if you are a rainbow picture fan, you can see the latest there. I don't know if you've seen our main page. We've made a story, so we've been live blogging. Jason Fraser has been phenomenal tonight, keeping that updated with everything people may need to know and just watching how things have been going. He's been tweeting out a lot of stuff. We've been trying a whole bunch of different things with this severe weather event tonight because we can, and you know, things are a little bit different now. I usually have my whole team here in house with me, and that is not the case this time. So we are kind of adjusting a few things behind the scenes to make sure we still have everything covered, and the planning has gone great. Matt Wentz is just one of my favorite people on the planet, and he has done an amazing job today keeping everything kind of going in the background. No idea what this thing, oh, I do know what that thing is doing. Let me back it up a little, there we go. Okay, let's focus again here, Betsy, because you're getting a little off kilter here. All right, so if we kind of focus on Ashtabula and Trumbull counties again, same story. Thunderstorms coming through, high wind gust potential. I am not seeing any twisting of the winds, thankfully, at this point. But we are still seeing the high wind bursts potential that's moving to the east. Now, one thing I haven't seen is a lot of high wind reports or damage reports coming out of Lake County or Ashtabula County as of yet. But they do have some lightning, some thunder, and some rain that they're obviously keeping a very close eye on, and then the reports have been coming in for that. And then farther south, we've got no reports in Geauga County, nor have we had reports in portions of Portage County. So by and large, I think the worst of this event is over, and now it's just kind of mopping up a little bit, kind of taking care of the last little bits of any problems that could be coming out. You check it. Interesting. So the severe, the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh put out a little discussion about that tornado warning that they issued, and they said not only are they seeing a circulation, they're also seeing straight line wind potential that's coming out of that. So that's an interesting little tidbit. I have no idea if that's going to move into Mahoning County. I believe Mahoning County is covered by the National Weather Service office in Cleveland, so my guess is there's a little bit of coordination that's going on there. But hopefully that will continue to move over toward the state line area, not impact Portage County, and hopefully settle down completely for our friends over in Mahoning County too. We are still seeing some gusty winds aloft throughout southeastern portions of Portage County, eastern sections of Stark County, and then there's a lot of wind also. We're probably seeing kind of the elevated wind core, if you will, a low-level jet that's coming into sections here along the Ohio River and over toward Pittsburgh. So that is a concern. So right on the nose of that, right on the edge, the leading edge of that high wind aloft, sometimes you can get some really funky things that happen, and it helps to aid in upscale growth and things like that. But as far as, you know, major tornado outlooks, it's not likely. Obviously, we're talking about this area right here. This is a bow echo, a big chunk of wind that's coming northward. It's right on the nose of that elevated wind jet. But right here on the corner, sometimes as this starts to swing out, it's just a natural kind of progression to have a circulation that would show up in there. And so that's probably where that warning came from. I haven't seen anything that they said that they were getting any kind of ground confirmation or ground reports out of that. Okay. All right, Columbiana County. Okay, so from the National Weather Service, we're monitoring the segment in Columbiana County. So are we. It's heading towards Mahoning. This area has different angle from the rest of the line and is more concerning for a possible tour, although it's losing a bit of steam as it goes north. So we've already been following that, and so we'll kind of do this. We will not cut in for Mahoning County tornado warnings. They have their own TV stations in Youngstown, so I don't need to cut in there. But I can see what they're saying, that this angle is coming in a little bit different, and that's where you can get those little circulations. So if we pop down here, so we're going to rocket back and forth, it's virtually the same radar picture on the reflectivity. Let's check the velocity, and you can kind of see back and forth. There's a little bit of a circulation there. That's the same thing that came through Stark County that we were watching. but it's just a little farther south. So it's right on the edge of that larger storm complex that's going to continue to move northeast. So if they're going to make their determination on it, they're going to have to make it pretty soon because it's coming right up to the edge of that warning there at the intersection of Columbiana and Mahoning counties. So we'll see if they issue that. Again, I'm not cutting in for that. We'll just keep it here on the web. So now let's take a look at our alerts because I do want to, it's one of my favorite things to get to clear people from any kind of severe weather. And I think that that's kind of one of those things like you can go to bed and breathe again. So Lake County, Geauga County, Portage County, Summit County, Stark County, we still have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect. And as far as the storms themselves, you can see that the main line now is in Ashtabula and Trumbull counties. So severe clear for Lake County, severe clear for Geauga County, even though there's still lightning and thunder in those areas. The worst of the weather is past you. Almost done in Portage County. It's just a far southeast corner of Portage County that we have to worry about. Severe clear in Summit County. I'm going to go severe clear for Stark County. That's good news. Severe clear also Tuscarawas and Carroll counties, although still lightning and thunder and some rain carrying on at this point. But there you see that main line is going to continue to move to the east. So at this point, I might as well just kind of hang out and take it over to the state line area and get it out of here. To west of Chardon, there has been some trees down with wires across Route 6 near Auburn Road. So there you go with that. In Chardon, one east-northeast of Chardon, there's trees down on wires. That's always a bad thing. Power outages. We haven't updated power outages recently. Let's take a look at that. Almost 80,000 First Energy customers in Ohio now without power. So we have 16,000 in Cuyahoga County without power, more than 16,000. We have 1,500 in Ashland County, 12,000 on the nose in Erie County. We have 3,300 in Geauga County, 1,900 in Lake, 3,800 in Lorain County, 13,500 in Ottawa County, just about 1,800 in Portage County, 3,700 in Richland County, 3,600 Sandusky County, not the city of Sandusky, that's Sandusky County west of there, 11,000 in Summit County, 2,000 in Stark. Wayne has 658. So we're doing all right. You know, there were hundreds of thousands without power up in Michigan earlier today as the storms popped. They really got tagged pretty good. Overall, I don't think that the tornado outcome has been crazy today. I think this has been mainly a straight line wind event. We were concerned about the little areas where we could get thunderstorms banging together, a la the circulation that we just saw down in Columbiana County. By and large, it's just been straight line wind that we've had to deal with. And I say it frequently, but I really don't care if it's straight wind or turning wind. Wind is going to do damage. The difference between straight line wind and tornadic winds, obviously straight line winds is just a big gust of wind coming straight at you. It blows everything down in one direction. It's kind of a neat and tidy damage, if you will. Tornadoes, on the other hand, you get that circulation, it's like a blender and it chops stuff up. So that's why there's a big difference when they go out and they do surveys and they look at the damage and they're looking for all of these little indicators, all these little clues as to what could have caused the damage. I bet you they're going to end up sending a National Weather Service storm crew, survey crew down to Marion tomorrow, down southwest of Mansfield, because they have quite a bit of damage in the city of Marion from what I'm seeing. And then I think that would probably be the only place where we really have that. They may go farther west, but I didn't see any kind of circulation showing up on the radar that would tell me tornado. I think that was all straight line wind. And I think for the most part, all the damage that we've had throughout the afternoon and the evening today has been straight line wind here in Northeast Ohio. Farther south, farther west, out of my jurisdiction. It's just that it's kind of straight line wind event that we were really keeping an eye on, certainly. So let's see, where do we stand now? Things are looking much better. And I am just doing some updates here. And let's see. Okay. Yeah. I get messages from all kinds of different people at this point. Ooh, boy. I'm surprised we don't have a warning for Mahoning County right now. Things are looking kind of interesting, or Columbiana County. Things are definitely, no, that's Mahoning now. Let's pop in. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. And again, this is elevated, so we're looking pretty high in the atmosphere, but it's just the way that the storm structure is all put together. So we're south of Youngstown, obviously. This is coming right in through of Youngstown, and obviously there is some kind of a circulation that has been ongoing. This has come through. We're still on the Pittsburgh radar. There we go. And you can see now we're starting to see just a little bit smaller scale type of a circulation showing up. So be interesting to see what they do on that, because this definitely looks kind of funky to me. I mean, armchair quarterback all over the place, but that's what meteorologists do. We all watch each other and we all kind of watch to see what's happening, but that definitely is an interesting signature on the radar, certainly. You know, when you work in different parts of the country, you are introduced to different types of radar signatures. In Fort Wayne, Indiana, my first job, we would get big supercell thunderstorms, rotating storms, we'd have hook echoes. I mean, it was like textbook. When I moved to Florida, it was a tropical environment, and the tornadoes down there, you don't get the big EF4s and 5s and 3s and all that. They're more small scale spin-ups, and they would look more like this on the radar, just kind of this little area. We used to call it, well, we'd say it looks like vomit on the radar, but that's probably TMI. But it would just be this little area where all of the data was just kind of jumbled. That's because it was literally jumbled in the atmosphere. Up here, we kind of get a little bit of everything, right? We get some very definitive signatures, and then at some times we also just get that. So how do you make that determination? And that's where the Weather Service comes in. They have way more tools than I do. I know I have a lot going on here, but they have way more at their fingertips, and they are able to investigate things at a much more high-res possibility than we are, even with all of our fancy tools and gadgets and stuff. But as of right now, that's kind of my big area of concern. We probably still have some high wind gusts that are coming through Ashtabula County right now. That warning continues. There's still a warning for Trumbull County too. We are severe clear of severe now for Lake County, for Geauga County, even though there's still some thunderstorms, all right, but the worst of it is east of you. Down into Portage County, you are severe clear. Stark County is severe clear. Carroll County and Tuscarawas County, all severe clear. So we're kind of just riding out the last little dregs here as this line continues to move right over to the state line area. And then it's finally going to be out of here. It is now 9:32. And just watching various things here, trying to see how things have been going. I am getting so many rainbow pictures. I'm so bummed I missed those rainbows. I hope my girls got to see the rainbows, though. That's always kind of a magical thing when they get to see it. I love to watch their faces, right? It's so special. Okay, so the Weather Service, this is an interesting note. So earlier last year, the Weather Service changed the way that they kind of structure the way warnings are sent out. And by that, I don't mean they've changed the way that they send the warnings out. I mean that they changed the way that the wording is structured in the warnings. And guess what? My IFB died. Yay, I'm done. See my little earpiece? Oh, that's so good. Get that out of my ear. They changed the way that the warnings are put together in a structure format. So the way that the information is sent out now, it basically, they can put tags on something. So you can put out a severe thunderstorm warning, 70 mile per wind, 70-mile-per-hour wind tags, right? So that's pretty significant. You can also send out a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado tag on it, and that's what they just did on the Mahoning County storm. So it's kind of an interesting way to handle it. It's as close as you can get to a tornado warning without issuing a tornado warning. So they're basically saying they're not quite exactly sure, which, I mean, there's no definitive yes or no on this one right now. It's definitely looking like it's pretty interesting. Look at down here. Pittsburgh's like, we're going. They just issued another one, so that's going to be interesting for them. But then you get into areas, our primary concern, of course, is our viewing area. And here we go, Ashtabula County into Trumbull County. And we're not seeing any of those circulations showing up as of right now. It's just basically that one area in Mahoning County that has the biggest problem. And I can't believe they don't have a tornado warning on that right now, quite honestly. But they're watching. They have more tools than I do. You know, there's a meteorologist in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama, named James Spann. Everybody follows James Spann. They know James Spann. He's amazing. And he has a little saying, respect the polygon, right? So he'll always show you what the National Weather Service says, and then he's going to tell you what he thinks about the same thing. I kind of picked up on that. I do that a little bit too. And I just wonder how he would handle situations like that, you know, sometimes. I've been doing this a very long time. I've mentored people myself. But, you know, when it comes to these types of situations, you don't necessarily know everything. It'd be great to ask a question right now, but I don't have that ability, unfortunately. So we just continue to kind of blather on. Dinah says, sorry, Mother Nature messed up your vacation. Thanks for helping to keep us safe. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'll be back to vacation tomorrow, and I'm taking Tuesday off. So there's that. And let's see. I really appreciate all these nice messages. Thank you, everybody. I know there's a lot of people who are nervous with storms, and I say that because that was me. That when I was a kid, if somebody would have told me when I was a kid I was going to be a meteorologist, I'd have thought you were nuts. I was terrified of thunderstorms and tornadoes. My mom and dad have stories about it. I would have so much nervous energy, I would rearrange the furniture. And literally my mom would come home from work and be like, okay, thunderstorms in the forecast apparently. So, and that hasn't changed that much when I'm older. It's just now I have figured out, and I figured out in college, that it's not the thunderstorms and the tornadoes that scare me. They're very fascinating. They're fun to watch. They're, you know, you see the structure, you can see them coming. It was that element of surprise that I didn't like. Not knowing where they were, not knowing when they were coming, when was it going to get me. And so meteorology really kind of helped me out with that. So believe me, I still get nervous. I still get very concerned. I called my family tonight and told them to sit in one part of the house rather than the other. Totally did that. I'm a fussy mom, just like a lot of people I know. But I think it's one of those things that if you have loved ones, little kids especially, who are really nervous about tornadoes because they've, you know, seen the big bad tornadoes in the Plain States. We don't live there. We get those sometimes, but not always. Very rarely, actually, here in Northeast Ohio. I think 1985 was the last time we had a big bad storm like that. Niles, Newton Falls. But you know, it's kind of a cool way to watch, to learn, and control. You feel like you have some control over your anxiety and over those fears if you know what's going on. Now, that being said, I guarantee you, if I had the signature here over the station, I would most certainly be in my safety spot here. But you know, it's just something to consider, especially if you have little ones that are nervous about stuff like that. Wow, I still have 79 people hanging with me. Things have changed, right? Everybody's like, yeah, we're done. It's fine. No worries. Let me pop over here real quick. So many sweet messages. Aw. I'm trying to post stuff and... Okay. So, right now. I hesitate to jump off, but I just know that that little chunk is coming through. I'm going to keep an eye on it. Pittsburgh's radar definitely does not pick up on the same type of a signature. Cleveland's does. Look at that. Oh, that's coming right up into the city of Youngstown. I bet they've got the fire department on the phone asking the fire department what's going on. I betcha. Keeping a close eye on that. I'm getting some really great pictures in my email and on social. Mammatus clouds and rainbows and cool shelf clouds and all kinds of good stuff. It's really fun to see. I appreciate that very much. All right, well, I'll tell you what, everybody, I think I'm gonna pop out. Oh, my concern, here's my only concern. They're gonna issue for this and they're gonna clip right in here, and that is technically my viewing area, and that drives me nuts because it's on the fringes and it's Youngstown, so I probably would not cut in for that. These are the decisions we get to make, and no matter what decision I make, it won't be right for some people. So, I mean, I can't believe they don't have a warning on that. Things have changed. Nothing. Definitely something. Wow, that's interesting. All right, well, let's get back into our own area here. I can't believe they don't have a warning on that. I'm surprised. Well, notice the leading edge of our wind is coming right up to Andover, Pymatuning State Park, right on the state line. That will then carry over into Pennsylvania. We won't have to worry about it anymore, but we're still dealing with the very good possibility of some high wind gusts translating to the surface here in Ashtabula and Trumbull counties. I mean, the Trumbull County, things have completely fallen apart just about. Look at this, we got a notch. I can't believe they don't have a warning on that. But anywho, we do have some strong storm, obviously, in Ashtabula County that is going to move over to the east. I don't even think that's a severe storm anymore. I think that's just precautionary severe thunderstorm warning that they are dealing with at this point. And they are waiting for that to go, that Mahoning County part of the storm to go over the border. So Pittsburgh will rewarn it probably, because that goes over then into the Pittsburgh Weather Service office area as soon as it crosses the state line. Look at these little babies popping up here in that heat just ahead of this main line as it comes out. Just a crazy night to watch how the evolution of this thing came together. I just think it's fascinating, right? So obviously Matt Wentz is going to be watching this very same thing. I've been getting some text messages from him as he's been watching everything and keeping an eye on everything. And let's check my little doohickey here. Oh, I can get rid of this. And there it is. Okay. Okay. Yeah, the meteorologists in Youngstown are like really like, hey, hello, what are we doing with this? So they've just covered it with that severe thunderstorm warning with the tornado tag in it. I think that's an interesting way to handle it. It's kind of a catch-all at this point. So, all right, y'all, I'm telling you what, I think I'm gonna close her down and get out of here and get back to my babies. I still have time to maybe put my oldest one to bed, 9:30. Well, my little one might be getting into bed right now. Hot Mess does her own thing. But man, that is just disturbing me right now. Kind of perplexed as to how to handle that. So, I don't want to cut out too early, but I mean, really, we've kind of covered it all at this point. All right, let's see. Oops. All righty. Well, I don't see them issuing on that, and I don't see the southeast corner of Trumbull County getting included in that, and even if they are, I wouldn't cut in. Ashtabula County, Trumbull County, just good old-fashioned thunderstorm at this point with the possibility of some wind gusts, which is nothing terribly unusual. Lake Geauga, Portage, severe clear. I mean, I think we're done. I think we did it. So all 64 of you who are left, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm going to clean up my junk here in the studio, get things set up for Holly for the morning so she has a nice clean studio and sanitized, because I'm technically using her carts. Right now I can roll this in, you can see. Part of my very fancy setup. See this? Look, isn't that fancy? But this is the cart that Holly uses as her desk, so I have to sanitize the heck out of it and leave it for her to be cleaned tomorrow. And then, what is that? Mudslide. What? That's weird. Wow. I think I'm gonna call it. I think I am. You can tell how hard of a decision this is. Ashtabula and Trumbull. Now there's a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is weird. New warning for Trumbull and Ashtabula. Oh, so it's just the old one. Huh. The Weather Service is saying, we have warned for every single county we can warn for. I think that's kind of funny. They're like proud of it. Yay! Oh man. All right, well, this is going through Youngstown. This is all out into Erie and Crawford County, PA, and I think we are just about done. They're not going to issue on that. They're pretty much kaputzed on that idea, unless somebody chimes in with something crazy here real quick. And then Beaver Falls over here, this warning, they have a confirmed tornado with that. That's the Pittsburgh office, not here. Oh boy. Well, I think I'm going to call it, everybody. Thanks. Thanks for hanging out with me. Don't forget, 3 News app. We've also got the blog rolling still. Jason's updating that. You've heard all that stuff already, and if you're following us on Facebook or YouTube, we really appreciate it, hanging with me. Thank you for hanging with me on the stream. I'm sorry it wasn't more compelling. But I think other than just a few little issues here and there relating to wind and little bits of damage, I don't think we have any major stuff that's going to be coming in. So as I'm cleaning up, I'll be keeping an eye on things. But for now, I think we're going to pull down the feed. I don't know exactly how to do that. That's not my jurisdiction. I will text, Kiara, stop the feed. Facebook is done. Okay, so I'm gonna turn my microphone off and I'm gonna say goodnight. I'm gonna find my microphone. There it is. Bye.